Hello, loves. Today I have compiled quite a few good stories. Let's get started. Story: My friend Emily passed away recently. I want to share her story. The house was unusually quiet tonight. I sank into the couch, the remote control in hand, flipping through channels aimlessly. With my parents gone for the evening, I relished the rare solitude, the perfect opportunity to binge-watch my favorite shows without any interruptions. The wind outside was howling, causing the old windows to rattle in their frames. I glanced at the clock, 8:30 p.m. Plenty of time before I had to worry about them coming home. I decided to get a snack and headed to the kitchen. As I walked past the large living room window, something outside caught my eye. I stopped and looked out. Standing under the flickering street lamp across the street was a man. He was tall and thin, wearing dark, shabby clothes that seemed out of place in our quiet suburban neighborhood. His face was obscured by shadows, but I could feel his eyes on me. I shivered and quickly pulled the curtain shut, trying to dismiss the unease creeping up my spine. It's just someone passing by, I told myself. No big deal. The growing fear back on the couch, I tried to focus on the TV, but my mind kept drifting back to the man outside. I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. My heart started to race, and I found myself glancing at the window every few minutes, half expecting to see him still standing there. The hours dragged on, and the uneasy feeling grew stronger. I texted my parents, asking when they'd be back, but got no reply. I decided to close all the curtains in the house, a flimsy barrier against the growing fear inside me. As I was shutting the last curtain in the kitchen, I heard a faint tapping sound. It was coming from the front door. My pulse quickened as I slowly approached the door. I pressed my eye to the peephole, holding my breath. Nothing. I exhaled shakily and turned away, but the tapping resumed, louder and more insistent this time. Gathering my courage, I unlocked the door and flung it open, my heart pounding in my chest. The porch was empty. I quickly shut and locked the door, double-checking all the windows and doors. The confrontation I couldn't relax after that. Every creak of the house, every gust of wind, made me jump. The feeling of being watched was unbearable. I kept glancing at my phone, willing it to ring with a call from my parents. Finally, I heard the familiar sound of their car pulling into the driveway. Relief washed over me as I ran to the window and peeked out from behind the curtain. I saw their car and my parents walking up the driveway, but my blood ran cold when I noticed the man standing at the edge of our yard, watching them. Mom. Dad. Get inside, quickly. I yelled, throwing the door open. They turned, startled by my panic. What's wrong, honey? My dad asked, concern evident in his voice. I pointed to where the man had been standing, but he was gone. My parents exchanged worried glances, and my mom put a comforting arm around my shoulders. It's okay, sweetie. There's no one there, she said softly. But I knew what I had seen. That night, I lay in bed, unable to sleep. Every noise seemed magnified, every shadow a potential threat. Just as I was beginning to drift off, I heard a noise outside my window. Summoning the last of my courage, I peeked through the curtains. My heart stopped. The man was there, standing right outside my window, his face pressed against the glass, his eyes locking onto mine. In an instant, he vanished into the darkness, leaving me trembling with fear. The next morning, my dad found footprints in the mud outside the window, confirming my worst fears. The man was real, and he had been watching me all night. Story: Weirdest relationship I've ever had. John, what the fuck do you think you are doing, you absolute mental case? Asterisk, you hissed, trying to keep a low level of volume in your voice despite the rapidly growing horde zomboids, mindlessly approaching us. What do you think, dumbass? Asterisk, he said, very casually as he put the famous Don't Look Back in Anger Oasis cassette into the player, turning the volume up using the dial on the radio. You're gonna attract more of these bastards, are you insane? Asterisk, I once again quietly exclaimed, watching John turn the volume louder than I had ever heard, We are already gonna shoot them, why can't we go out listening to our favorite band? Asterisk, we have suppressors. Asterisk, I exclaim, my face having a look of despair. Not for shotguns. I know you have your AR-15, but we all have M4s, asterisk, John said, humming the chorus to the beloved song we all had sang before our cars had run out of fuel. We had driven about 40 miles west in hopes of reaching the military base to recuperate with our family who were being held safe there, reason being that we had served in Vietnam, entitling our families to safety and protection, given by the military. So don't look back in anger, I heard you say. Asterisk, John and Harry sung, as they fired their M4 shotguns into the oncoming horde of zomboids. Come on Liam, you need to start killing these inbred fuckers. Asterisk, you hear John say to you, mowing down the next 4 zombies with his beloved shotgun. I hadn't wanted to shoot them because I still couldn't come to the realization that my best friend Peter, who had not only fought aside me in Nam with the rest of the boys, but who was also mowing down the zomboids approaching us now, had been bitten on his neck by his wife, who lied about being bitten. He told me that I should be the one to kill his corpse, and I had wept more tears than I could fathom. At first I heavily declined and cried in his arms, and then as we started driving he said it would be the only thing that lets his soul be at peace when he passes, so I ultimately agreed. He smiled at me and put a cassette of AC/DC into the player, shaking me while singing in seat dancing. I started to shoot the zomboids with my assault rifle, state issued, which I bought at an auction after being ordered to return it, along with the rest of my platoon and their firearms. I had worked as a Navy SEAL with my 3 other best friends in what's known as a fire team, usually consisting of 4 soldiers. We had gained intel and reconnaissance on Nguyen Van Lem, a prolific war criminal who had murdered innocent South Vietnamese women and children. After that we did direct combat in a squadron on 12, participating in close-quarters combat, such as raids, ambushes, etc. At this point only a fifth of the zomboids had been killed, and they were slowly gaining on us. We decided, after around 1 minute of consideration, to enter the one vehicle that still had gas and get away from the horde. Let's ram these bastards. Peter and John both said excitedly, taking the Oasis cassette out and replacing it with a Metallica cartridge. You know what, fuck it, yeah, let's ram these cocksuckers. I shouted with my West Brooklyn accent louder than the currently playing Master of Puppets. When did you loosen up? John says, laughing at my stronger than ever Brooklyn accent. You need to be silenced, young man, I said to him, my voice occasionally breaking with a giggle. He continued laughing as we spoke and eventually rammed them after reversing enough to accelerate to 60 miles per hour, smashing into them. They were all over the windshield, a mix of green and red blood plastered to our car. Keter, you okay, bud? I said to him, my voice trembling, worried knowing that the first stage of zombification was already here. No reply. I start to panic and pull over. I drag Peter out as he sputters, you guys are pretty cool, tell your mom I love her. As tears form and roll down my face he looks at me, laughs with the last remaining energy he had left and slowly passed. Bang, 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 3 shots. I had shot my best friend 3 times, after seeing his skin starting to turn green. We're 5 minutes away from the military base if we drive fast, let's go quick and we can bury him after. I say, indicating to the horde, slowly marching like an army from the 15th century. We drive around 7 minutes and arrive at the military base, being greeted by the president, with a flock of security behind him. I had counted at least 15 of them before shaking the president's hand, being congratulated for my outstanding work, to not only protect the country but to protect my area as a police officer, giving my life to the United States of America. I thanked the president and walked to my wife, kissing her on the forehead and hugging my children. I watched my 2 remaining friends recuperating with their families, walking into the barracks. Later on that week we had gone back to where Peter had passed, taking him back to outside the base, digging him a grave, putting a tent over his grave, attaching his badges to a batten of wood, hammering it into the soil like a fence. After we finished the grave I put a chair in front of the wood and cried, wishing I hadn't have lost my brother. Story: I'm in love with my best friend and I don't know if she likes me back. I'm currently a 21-year-old female in college, and I met this girl who recently became my best friend. We started hanging out more during the spring semester and we just instantly clicked, hanging out in the same friend group. Within this group, we started flirting in front of our other friends as a joke, and this continued for a while. I have always identified as straight and have only thought about dating guys my whole life. However, since I've become friends with her, I've been questioning myself if I like her in a different way. She's very touchy-feely with me. We're always hugging or on top of each other, taking naps together at school, etc. This is when I started liking the affection from her and constantly craving it. During this whole time, I had no idea if she even liked girls or not. Then, on the last day of school, she told me she's bi and that she might like girls. When she told me this, my heart raced with excitement. First, because she was comfortable enough to tell me, and second, because I might not be crazy and she actually could be interested in me. I've always gotten vibes from her that she might be interested, but I think she believes I'm 100% straight, so I don't know if that affected our relationship. It was really new for me to have these feelings of attraction for a girl, so I didn't really want to say anything about my sexuality because I literally have no idea. I don't like other girls, I just like her. We then basically started hanging out the whole summer, meeting whenever we could in our busy schedules, which was at least once a week. One day, while hanging out, I told her how I kissed one of my girlfriends on a drunken night out as a joke, just to see how she would react. This is when it clicked for her that I might not be completely straight, as I could see the shock on her face. We continued hanging out the whole summer, cuddling in bed, calling each other baby, and she would say I'm her girlfriend. I've never outright discussed my sexuality with her as both our families are very religious, and it's not something we could make public. So, we're basically stuck in the closet. We say we're dating as a joke all the time and play along with it to our friends, but I ended up catching real feelings. Fast forward, it's now the fall semester, and she's gotten very social and friendly with other people. I tend to get jealous sometimes when I see her with other people, even though she's literally with me 24/7 every second of the day. She recently told me how she finds one of the guys in our class cute, and that really bothered me. I would tell her, "Wow, so you're cheating on me now," and she would laugh it off and think it's a joke. I get so frustrated that she's interested in these other guys and acts like she's obsessed with them. She's so affectionate with me, and we're always touching, holding hands. I'll be holding her waist when we're waiting in line, holding her face, caressing her hands, etc. I get confused because I don't know if this is how best friends should act. I really don't think so. Moving on, we went to a party one night at the beginning of the fall semester and got pretty drunk. There were some pretty close calls in the summer where I thought we were going to kiss, so I made it my mission that night that I was finally going to do it. My whole plan went perfectly, and I finally got her alone. I'm pretty sure she's the one who initiated the kiss. I was planning on kissing her at that exact moment, but she went for the kiss first. I kissed her back, and we broke it off as some other people walked in to check on us literally 2 seconds after we broke it off. We spent the whole night giggling and being physically affectionate. When it was time to go home and I was waiting for my Uber, she was kissing my face with little pecks, kissing my neck, and even bit my neck. It was really difficult for her to leave me that night as she was going home with another one of our friends accompanying her. She asked me why I wasn't kissing her back while still clearly drunk, but it was in front of a lot of other people, and I'm not ready for anyone to see me kissing a girl. That same night, when she got home, I texted her about how she was a good kisser. That's the only time we acknowledged the kiss. Story: Finding Strength in Solitude. In the bustling city of Seattle lived a man named Daniel. At 33, Daniel was a successful architect known for his innovative designs and attention to detail. He lived in a stylish apartment downtown and enjoyed a life filled with friends, hobbies, and adventures. Despite his fulfilling life, there was one question that seemed to follow him everywhere: why are you still single? Daniel had been in a few serious relationships over the years, but none had worked out. His friends were mostly married or in long-term relationships, and family gatherings often involved subtle, and not so subtle, comments about his single status. While these remarks stung, Daniel was determined not to let them define his happiness. One rainy afternoon, Daniel decided to take a break from his hectic schedule and visit a small, cozy cafe he had recently discovered. As he sipped his coffee and watched the raindrops race down the window, he reflected on his life. He realized that he had always been someone who found joy in solitude and personal growth. He decided to embrace his single life and focus on the things that made him happy. Daniel started by making a list of personal goals and adventures he wanted to embark on. At the top of his list was a solo trip to Iceland, a place he had always dreamed of visiting. A month later, Daniel found himself standing on the black sand beaches of Vik, feeling the cool Atlantic breeze against his face. The breathtaking landscapes, with their glaciers, waterfalls, and volcanic formations, filled him with a sense of awe and wonder. During his travels, Daniel met other solo adventurers from around the world. He bonded with a fellow traveler named Sophie, who was also exploring Iceland on her own. They shared stories of their journeys and dreams, forming a friendship that enriched their experiences. Sophie admired Daniel's courage to travel alone and pursue his passions, and their conversations helped Daniel see the beauty in his solitary path. Back in Seattle, Daniel returned to his routine with a renewed sense of purpose. He threw himself into his work, taking on challenging projects that pushed the boundaries of his creativity. He also took up photography, capturing the city's architectural marvels and natural beauty through his lens. His photos garnered attention, and he was invited to exhibit his work at a local gallery. One evening, while attending the opening of his photo exhibition, Daniel ran into an old college friend, Kevin. They hadn't seen each other in years and quickly fell into an easy conversation. Kevin was intrigued by Daniel's stories of solo travel and personal growth. They exchanged numbers and began meeting up for coffee and hikes, enjoying each other's company without any pressure or expectations. As months passed, Daniel's life continued to flourish. He found joy in his solitude and fulfillment in his pursuits. He and Kevin grew closer, and their friendship deepened into something more. Daniel appreciated that their relationship was built on mutual respect and understanding, allowing both of them to maintain their independence while sharing their lives. One day, as they stood on a hilltop overlooking the city, Kevin turned to Daniel and said, "Daniel, being with you feels like an adventure. I admire your strength and the way you've embraced your life. I'm glad we reconnected." Daniel smiled, feeling a sense of contentment and clarity. "Thank you, Kevin. I'm glad too. But remember, our happiness comes from within. We're choosing to share our journeys, not complete them." In the end, Daniel's story was not about finding love in the traditional sense, but about discovering and embracing himself. He had learned that being single at 30 was not a state of lack, but a canvas for creating a fulfilling and meaningful existence. His journey was a testament to the power of self-love, independence, and the endless possibilities that lay ahead when one embraces life wholeheartedly. Story: My Wife and I, Our Love Story. My wife and I met in high school. We started as acquaintances in some of the same classes. I never really thought much of her other than she was in my class and she was cute. Somehow, she, I, and a bunch of other people became a friend group at a lunch table. Soon, this friend group would all hang out on the weekends. One of the other guys from the group asked her out. I wasn't disappointed or anything. I really didn't give it a whole lot of thought other than, good for them. The only dates or dating I did were with girls who asked me out. I did date a girl from the end of senior year until I left the area, military. We did the long distance thing the whole time I was in. When I was home, I hung out with my girlfriend and my high school friend group, which included her and her boyfriend. He was one of my best friends since elementary. I found out later that nobody in my friend group liked my girlfriend. My wife confessed, after we were married, that she always thought I was too good for her. In my last year in the military, I was home on leave. I was hanging out with her and her boyfriend, and I asked him why they weren't engaged or married yet. They had been dating almost 6 years by then. They were both evasive. I didn't know they were having trouble and were on again, off again. I joked that if he didn't marry her in a year, I would. Thinking about it, that was probably the last straw. If that wasn't, the next part probably was. So, being the buddies that we were, I asked her to go Christmas shopping with me. I was shopping for my girlfriend and had no idea. Once again, I found out later that she fought the urge to grab my hand that whole day. So my leave came to an end, and I had to go back to my duty station. Before I left, I stopped by her house. We chatted. When I was ready to leave, I said goodbye, and we kissed. I turned, walked to my car, got in, put the keys in the ignition, then the world stopped. What the fuck just happened? A couple of months later, she came to visit me. I lived in a touristy area, and she wanted to see it. Allegedly. Later, I found out she wanted to know if that kiss was a fluke or what. So she flew in. I picked her up, and we hung out that day like the buddies that we were. That night, we went back to her hotel. We talked and laughed and had a good time, as buddies do. It got late. I was going to excuse myself. She said, or you could stay here. I was confused. There was only one bed and no couch. If I was going to have to sleep on the floor, I'd rather go home. She had gone into the bathroom and came out in a little nightie. Nothing super sexy, but not a whole lot there. Lying next to an almost naked woman in my underwear, it still took me longer than it should to make a move. When I did, it was freaking me out. I was kissing my best buddy. I was looking straight at her breasts. Again, what the fuck is happening? We were attached at the lips and other places the rest of the weekend. A really long story made a little shorter, we made the year deadline. Within 6 months, we were engaged and married 5 months later. That was 2 kids and 30 years ago. We're still buddies. Sometimes I look across the living room, she's sitting in her chair, and I think, what the fuck just happened? Story, I have the most wonderful boyfriend. So, my birthday was on Tuesday. Generally, every year for my birthday, I celebrate the entire weekend, especially if my birthday lands on a weekend day that year. I'll go out to bars with my close friends, hang out with other people, and do different things on the days after or leading up to my birthday. Anyway, the last 6 to 8 months have been extremely rough for me. I've gone through a lot of changes. I've moved to different places, recently lost my job, had to move back home, and struggled to find fosters for my cats. It's a whole thing, and it's taken a huge toll on my mental health and well-being, as well as my general happiness. So, this year, I really wasn't excited for my birthday at all, which is extremely out of character for me, as I have always been maybe a little too excited about my birthday my entire life. I'm usually unable to shut up about my birthday, but this year, I didn't even really think about it and almost forgot about it up until about 5 days before. I had made loose plans with a cousin of mine to meet up at a restaurant bar near the beach with her and her friends and invited my friends in the group chat. When I checked in a few days later to see who was coming, just about everyone backed out. My boyfriend is also in this group chat, but he pretty much never interacts, so I often forget that he's even in there. Anyway, all of my friends backed out, and I didn't really care too much about it because it gave me an excuse to cancel these plans anyway, as I really just wasn't in the mood to do anything for my birthday. But I can't lie, my feelings were kind of hurt. Well, on Friday, I thought I was just going to have a nice quiet time with my boyfriend and his parents, but he ended up throwing me a surprise party with all of his friends. Apparently, after he saw that everyone had backed out in the group chat, he was pissed. He contacted all of his friends, who are kinda my friends too, I guess. I definitely know them and we've all hung out multiple times, and told them to come to his house to surprise me. I was super surprised, and I started crying. He just made me feel so loved and special. He also made me an incredible model of my dream cottage, which he designed all on his own. It's so beautiful and has a bunch of little details that are personal to us and our relationship. He worked on it for 7 months and presented it to me on the day of my birthday. It's so beautiful and has a bunch of little details that are personal to us and our relationship. I just wanted to share this because it's so sweet. I've been feeling really shitty for months, and he just wanted to see me happy. I'm so grateful for him. I hope everyone can find a partner who is this loving and thoughtful. Story, a beautiful love story, unexpected twist at the end. Jake and Mia met under a blossoming cherry tree, where laughter and smiles exchanged like petals in the wind. Their eyes spoke volumes, and their hearts danced to the same beat. Through shared stories and stolen glances, a connection as beautiful as the setting sun bloomed between them. As days turned into weeks, they explored the city, hand in hand. Each alleyway, every cafe, and every museum held a new adventure, as if the world was waiting for their love to fill it. The way their fingers intertwined, an unspoken promise of togetherness. One chilly autumn evening, raindrops gently kissed their faces as they strolled along the riverbank. Seeking shelter, they found solace in an old bookshop. Inside, they discovered a hidden world, the pages of books telling tales of love, adventure, and dreams. Mia gifted Jake a leather-bound journal, a canvas for his thoughts and a testament to their love. He filled it with verses, expressing the depths of his affection. Mia, in turn, painted vibrant canvases, capturing the colors of their shared emotions. Seasons changed, but their love remained constant, like the North Star guiding sailors through the night. The snow-covered streets became their playground, as they embraced the warmth of each other's company. In the spring, a surprise picnic by a field of wildflowers, with a handmade bouquet as the centerpiece, marked a milestone in their journey. Jake's eyes sparkled with emotion, and Mia's laughter echoed like the sweetest melody. With time, their love deepened, transcending words. It was in the way they cared for each other, the way they supported dreams and wiped away tears. A connection so profound that no obstacle could break it. In a quaint chapel, surrounded by family and friends, Jake and Mia exchanged vows, sealing their love with a kiss. It was a celebration of a love story written in the stars, a tale that touched the hearts of all who witnessed it. Jake finally asked Mia a question that had been on his mind for a long time. He asked, "By the way, what is Mia short for?" Mia replied, "Oh, it's short for Michael." And so, their love story, like a timeless melody, continued to unfold, a testament to the enduring power of love, written in the language of their hearts. Story: my emotionally abusive ex is making me go crazy, but a part of me still loves him and can't let go. For context, my ex and I were together for a while and it was pretty good until it wasn't. He began getting really upset and would ghost me, as well as constantly telling me that I am making things worse and am always making things weird. I am also one to get insecure really easily, so some of these things may not seem bad for some people, but through an insecure overthinker's lens it's bad. Basically, he blocked me on everything one night and said he needed a break for a month. A month goes by, I sort of forget about him, but he texts me and the emotions come back. He said he's sorry. I forgave him. We sort of start talking again, but it was usually me sending the first text or making the first move. Fast forward to a few days ago, where I was supposed to call him but instead see him calling with his girl BSF that I literally cannot stand. Everything she says is always right to my ex and he is blinded by everything she tells him. He invites me to the call however and I try talking but the said best friend is being dry while he was away from keyboard, and then I just started going quiet as she was only targeting questions towards my ex and pretending that I wasn't there. I end up texting my ex that it's getting a little awkward and I felt as if the girl BSF did not like me. He did not take this very well, and got very mad and told me I'm the one making it awkward and messing everything up, that I'm the problem, etc. And I would believe him every time. This is the kind of things that make me go into panic mode, and then start blaming myself on everything and just overall putting unnecessary pressure on myself. He then kicks me out of the call and just starts calling her and tells me he doesn't want to talk to me and that all I do is make everything worse. I attempted sharing my feelings to him, but all he would do is be sarcastic and say things like, "You completely read my mind since you know everything about everyone," and things like that. And would constantly ask if he could leave the call with me whenever there was a brief pause for him to put his input in. When he wasn't being sarcastic or asking to leave, he would just mumble okay or yeah in the background as a way to rush me through. Literally cried myself to sleep that night. Yes, seems like no big deal. But I have an attachment and a love still going on with my ex, and all my brain does is remember all the good times I had with him and not the other. However, my heart reminds me that I need to get out because I'm putting a lot of weight on my shoulders and letting a man decide my self-worth. Letting go of someone you love is so impossible for me, but I know I have to, but I just can't click the block button and delete him on everything. It's as if something stops me. I really need advice on how to get out on this situation. Story: I cut ties with a longtime friend of mine because I couldn't keep the friendship anymore after an incident between us. Here's why. I never expected to find love in a place I dreaded, but life has a way of surprising us. The homeschool group was a last resort for my parents, a desperate attempt to find a community where I could thrive with academic freedom and find peers with whom I could be social. However, my initial experience was anything but positive. The people there were awful and shallow. Despite their claims of being Christian and inclusive, their structure mirrored a cult more than anything resembling Christ and his love. They certainly put the weird into the homeschool stereotype. Twice a week, I dragged myself to the group, dreading the interactions with my peers who seemed to find joy in excluding and ridiculing me. I only found solace in leaving the school day early and engrossing myself in a book as a distraction to avoid the coldness of the others. Yet amidst this sea of unkindness, there was one boy who stood out. He was tall, with thick black hair and piercing eyes that seemed to see right through the facade I put up to protect myself. His presence was a beacon of kindness in an otherwise hostile environment. I first noticed him when our eyes met in the hallway. There was something disarming about his gaze. It was soft, curious, and unlike the judgmental stares I had grown accustomed to. At first, I tried to ignore him. The negative impressions the entirety of the group left on me were too strong to allow any positive feelings to surface. Moreover, he shared the same name as someone who had been awful to me for years, a bitter reminder of past pain. But no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't help but notice him. He seemed to be everywhere I turned, always looking at me with those gentle eyes. He wasn't in my class, but he often found reasons to come into my classroom, goofing off with his friends. His antics were playful, his laughter infectious, and yet, he always seemed to be watching me. I would catch him staring, a soft smile playing on his lips. Despite noticing him, I refused to acknowledge my feelings. I buried them deep, convinced that falling for someone in this group would only lead to more heartache and hurt. Weeks turned into months without a word exchanged between us in person, but fate had other plans. We connected over social media, and soon we were texting every day. Those messages became the highlight of my day. We talked about everything, from our favorite movies and books to our dreams and fears. It felt like I had found a kindred spirit in the unlikeliest of places. Our late-night phone calls became a ritual. We would talk for hours, sharing stories and secrets, laughing and sometimes crying. I felt a bond growing between us, a connection that was deep and genuine. Yet, I still rejected his advances, effectively friend-zoning him. I was scared to let my guard down, scared to admit what I was falling for him. But he was patient, kind, and lovingly persistent. As we got to know each other, we shared more about our lives, our likes and dislikes, and our long-term goals. Surprisingly, we had much in common. We would pray together and for each other, and he showed me love in the most genuine, kind way without expecting anything in return. I was hooked, even if I didn't want to admit it. Eventually, I couldn't deny my feelings any longer. I confessed my love for him, and to my relief and joy, he felt the same. We began to date, albeit minimally, as we were both very young with strict parents. Our relationship was innocent and pure, built on a foundation of mutual respect and shared faith. Never had I experienced love the way he loved me. He listened to me attentively, with such care and genuine interest in what I had to say. He encouraged and comforted me through all the family issues that burdened me and always guided me toward Christ. Despite our apparent immaturity, our love was genuine and deep, and we were committed to growing together in our faith. Every moment with him felt like a gift, a precious memory to be cherished. His love gave me strength and hope, a light in the midst of my struggles. Our happiness, however, was short-lived. One day, he told me that his family had decided to move across the country. The news hit me like a ton of bricks, leaving me devastated and heartbroken. Despite our young age, I truly felt he was the one I was always meant to be with. Our connection was not based on infatuation or lust, but on a shared desire for and rootedness in the Lord. As if this news wasn't enough, girls around us, fueled by hatred and jealousy, started nasty rumors and began harassing me even more than they had before. The drama escalated, adding to the stress and pain I was already feeling. The combination of his impending move and the relentless harassment and lies from others broke us. I became bitter and devastated, fearing that I might never see him again. The days leading up to his move were a blur of sorrow and longing. We spent as much time together as we could, which ended up only being once, trying to make the most of the moments we had left. He held me close, whispering promises of staying in touch, but deep down, we both knew that things would never be the same. Then, the day came when he left. Him and his family, whom I had only met once but instantly fell in love with, were gone forever. Never before had I experienced such physical pain from immense sorrow. I felt my heart tearing apart. I had heard of people dying from heartbreak, and I fully believed this would be my fate. Compounding my grief was the fact that my home life was horrible, filled with constant fear and tension. My parents' arguments echoed through the house, and I lived in a constant state of anxiety. The sanctuary I once found in my room now felt like a prison. The weight of my sorrow was overwhelming, and I couldn't escape the pain. I fell into a deep depression, barely eating and working out an unhealthy amount to keep myself out of the house and away from my family. Exercise became my escape, a way to numb the pain and avoid the constant reminder of what I had lost. My phone, once a lifeline to him, now felt like a cruel reminder of the amazing man who was no longer in my life. I avoided it as much as possible, unable to bear the sight of our old messages and photos. For a time, bitterness consumed me. I was angry at the world, at my circumstances, and at the people who had driven us apart. But his wise character always shone through any clouds that loomed. Even in his absence, his influence remained. He had set the standard for what a man should be, for how I wanted to be treated, and for the type and level of connection I desired in a relationship. Despite our separation, I found myself speaking about him to everyone close to me. My entire circle knew of the amazing boyfriend who had sadly moved away. They knew of my sorrow, his sweetness and wisdom, and how, even in his absence, I remained in awe of him. I recounted our story countless times, each retelling solidifying his place in my heart. Years went by, and I tried to move on. I dated other people, but no one compared to him. No one could ever compare to him. Each new relationship felt like a pale imitation of what we had shared. I found myself constantly measuring others against the impossible standard he had set, and they always fell short. I tried to convince myself that I was being unrealistic, that I needed to let go of the past, but my heart wouldn't listen. Eventually, I settled and tried to make peace with the fact that I would never experience such perfection again. I met someone else, someone who was kind and seemingly loving, and I tried to build a future with him. We planned our lives together, a home, a family, future children. I loved him, but never as fully or deeply as I had loved the boy who had moved away. The spark, the connection, the profound understanding that I had shared with him was missing. As the years passed, I continued to cherish the memories of my first love. I realized that he had taught me invaluable lessons about love, faith, and resilience. His presence in my life, however brief, had left an indelible mark on my heart. Even though we were separated by distance and time, his influence remained, guiding me and shaping my understanding of what true love should be. In the quiet moments of reflection, I often found myself wondering what could have been. I imagined a parallel life where we had stayed together, growing and evolving side by side. But life had taken us on different paths, and I had to accept that. Still, the love we shared remained a cherished memory, a beacon of hope and a testament to the power of genuine, heartfelt connection. Then, I began being bombarded, nearly daily, by videos of interviews with the elderly. They were asked about their regrets and what they wished could have been different in their own lives. Many of them spoke about the one that got away. This struck me profoundly. These were people who had lived long, full lives, yet their eyes still held a glimmer of sadness and longing when they spoke of a love they had lost or let slip through their fingers. Watching these videos became a sobering ritual for me. Each story resonated deeply, like echoes of my own unspoken fears. The elderly men and women spoke with such raw honesty, recounting their lives filled with achievements, family, and adventures, yet always circling back to the one person they couldn't forget. They spoke of fleeting moments, missed opportunities, and the relentless passage of time that eventually solidified their regrets. It was in those quiet moments, listening to their heartfelt confessions, that I saw the path laid out before me. I knew that my future would mirror that of the elderly men and women in the interviews. The one that got away. I envisioned myself many years down the line, having accomplished my life goals in career, motherhood, monetary, and travel pursuits. I would have a successful career, a loving family, financial stability, and a wealth of experiences from around the world. Yet, despite these achievements, I knew a shadow of sadness would linger. At the end of my life, I would still feel a pang of unaccomplished longing, a void that success and fulfillment in other areas of life couldn't fill. I would have spent a lifetime not fully knowing or experiencing being loved in the way I had with him. I would miss the feeling of being witnessed by another, sharing the depth of my soul with someone who truly understood and reciprocated. The simple joys of life, appreciating the little things, laughing at inside jokes, and finding comfort in shared silence, would feel incomplete without him by my side. I imagined the unspoken conversations, the mutual understanding, and the sense of belonging that comes from being with someone who truly gets you. It was more than just love, it was about a profound connection, a partnership where we could indulge in life's beauty together. The thought of never experiencing that again filled me with a sense of preemptive sorrow. Little did I know, the Lord had a plan. The Lord always had a plan. In my moments of despair and longing, when the future seemed bleak and my heart felt heavy with regret, I had forgotten that my life was being guided by a higher power. The Lord's plan was always at work, weaving threads of hope and redemption through my story, even when I couldn't see it. The realization that my journey wasn't over, and that love and fulfillment could still be part of my future, began to dawn on me. Little did I know that I needed the time and experience with someone else to grow. In the aftermath of our separation, I found myself navigating through other relationships, each one serving as a lesson in patience, kindness, and love. However, I wasn't always the best version of myself in those relationships. There were moments when I said and did things I later regretted, moments that required excessive apologies and sincere efforts to make amends. It took those years away from my true love for me to realize the depth of my shortcomings and the areas in which I needed to grow. Through the heartache and challenges of those relationships, I gradually matured, not only as a partner but also as an individual. I learned to be more patient, more kind, and more caring, qualities that were essential for nurturing healthy and fulfilling connections. But perhaps the most significant growth occurred in my spiritual journey. It took time away from Him for me to truly rely on God, to surrender my fears and doubts, and to trust in His plan for my life. As I immersed myself in prayer and sought solace in my faith, I found strength and healing in His unwavering love. Yet, the path to spiritual and emotional growth was not without its obstacles. There were months and even years filled with heartache, sorrow, and betrayal, each one testing my resolve and challenging my faith. But through it all, I clung to the promise of redemption and restoration, believing that God's plan for me was greater than any setback or disappointment. Then, after 6 long, agonizing years, fate intervened once again. My love returned to the state in which I still lived. The mere thought of seeing him again filled me with excitement and hope, even if it meant that no romantic relationship would result from our reconnection. I prayed fervently, seeking God's guidance and surrendering to His will. In the 7th year of His absence, in the 7th year of waiting and longing, the Lord's will unfolded before me. It was as if the number 7, often associated with completion and perfection in biblical symbolism, held a profound significance in my journey. In that 7th year, my hopes and dreams, which had been held captive by time and circumstance, were finally realized. As I prepared to reunite with Him, I couldn't help but marvel at the mysterious ways in which God works. His timing, though often beyond our understanding, is always perfect. In those moments of anticipation and uncertainty, I found solace in the knowledge that His plan for me was unfolding exactly as it should. With each passing day, my faith grew stronger, my heart more steadfast in its trust in Him. And when the long-awaited reunion finally came to pass, I knew without a doubt that it was the culmination of God's divine plan for our lives. In the 7th year of His absence, the 7th year of my journey, I found completion in His grace and mercy. I didn't need to be with this man again to find joy and fulfillment. The mere prospect of reconnecting with Him, of having the opportunity to speak again after so many years apart, was enough to fill my heart with gratitude and happiness. I trusted that whatever the outcome, whether we rekindled our romance or simply remained friends, it would be according to God's perfect plan for our lives. As we reconnected and caught up on the years past and miraculous changes, we began to see the hand of divine intervention weaving through our lives. It was as if God had orchestrated every twist and turn, every moment of separation, to lead us back to each other. What a great and merciful God we serve! One of the first remarkable coincidences we noticed was how we had remained on each other's minds throughout the years apart. Despite only dating for a brief 5 months, He had occupied my thoughts for the entire 6 years we were apart. I found myself wondering about him, praying for him, and often pondering how he would respond to various situations life presented. And to my amazement, the feeling was mutual. He, too, had kept me close in his thoughts and had even considered me a standard for what he desired in a partner. Furthermore, the circumstances surrounding his unplanned and rapid move back paralleled my own reason for being single once again, safety concerns regarding the people we were living with. It was as if God had orchestrated our paths to align once more, removing the barriers that had kept us apart. Throughout the years of separation, there were also numerous uncanny occurrences that seemed to defy explanation. An influx of people with his exact name entering my life, so many that even my then partner remarked on the frequency, knowing it reminded me of him. It was as though the universe was constantly reminding me of his presence, preparing me for our eventual reunion. The night before our long-awaited coffee meeting, I had a conversation with a friend about favorite scents. I described a particular scent that would occasionally waft by, a scent that inexplicably reminded me of home. Little did I know, my love and his roommate were having a similar discussion at the same time, discussing the importance of scent to women and how it often evokes feelings of comfort and familiarity. And when we finally met, as we embraced in a heartfelt goodbye, I unintentionally caught a whiff of his scent. It was the same scent I had described, his natural musk, the scent of home. After all those years, I had still remembered his scent. But perhaps the most inexplicable and profound connection we shared was the instant understanding we had of each other. It went beyond mere attraction or physical appearance, it was as if we could read each other's minds. Countless times, he would, and still does, look at me without saying a word, and I would know exactly what he was thinking. Our minds were in sync, our souls intertwined in a way that defied explanation. In those moments, it became clear that our reunion was not just a coincidence or stroke of luck. It was a testament to the power of divine intervention, guiding us back to each other and reaffirming that our love was meant to be. As we marveled at the intricacies of our journey, we knew that our connection was nothing short of miraculous, a beautiful testament to God's unwavering love and grace. As we reconnected and delved deeper into the tapestry of our shared history, we were met with a treasure trove of small yet profoundly meaningful coincidences that seemed to serve as the delicate threads binding our hearts together. One such enchanting coincidence was the fact that I had unwittingly set all my passcodes to be his phone number. It was a simple act done without much thought many years before, but it carried a weight of significance that resonated deeply within me. His digits became my digital touchstone, a constant reminder of his presence in my life, even as the tides of time ebbed and flowed. In return, he adorned his world with symbols of me, incorporating my favorite color into his artwork like strokes of love painted across a canvas. Each was a testament to the enduring bond we shared, a vibrant reminder of the beauty that blossomed from our connection. But the symphony of serendipity didn't end there. It seemed that the universe conspired to sprinkle our path with moments of enchantment, weaving its magic through the fabric of our lives. License plates bearing the insignia of the state to which he had journeyed appeared with astonishing frequency, like gentle whispers from afar beckoning me closer to him. My mother, attuned to the significance of these chance encounters, captured them in photographs, each image a snapshot of the enduring connection that transcended distance and time. As we embraced our reunion, we discovered even more delightful nuances that mirrored the depth of our connection. From sharing favorite flavors of candy to speaking the same love languages, every revelation served to deepen the bonds of affection that bound us together. Our souls danced in synchrony, moving in perfect harmony as if choreographed by the hand of fate itself. Even in the minutiae of everyday life, we found echoes of our shared history and a reaffirmation of the enduring love that had weathered the storms of separation. Simple habits, like folding pizza before indulging in its cheesy delight or meticulously balancing eggs in the carton, became cherished rituals imbued with layers of meaning that spoke volumes about the depths of our connection and similarities. In each of these small moments and subtle gestures, we found solace and joy, knowing that our love was not just a fleeting emotion but a timeless bond ordained by God on high. As we marveled at the beauty of our shared journey, we knew that every twist and turn had led us to this moment of sweet reunion, where our hearts beat as one in perfect harmony. In the gentle embrace of our reunion, as we basked in the warmth of each other's presence, the air seemed to hum with a sense of sweet anticipation. Every moment spent together felt like a precious gift, a chance to rediscover the depths of our connection and explore the mysteries of our intertwined destinies. Amidst the tapestry of remarkable coincidences that seemed to adorn our reunion, there was one revelation that shimmered with a brilliance all its own. It was the tender caress of his lips upon mine, the gentle brush of his fingertips against my skin, that stirred within me a longing I had never known before. For in the embrace of his kiss, I discovered a depth of passion and desire that had eluded me in the arms of others. It was as if every kiss was a symphony of emotions, each tender touch a testament to the profound connection that bound us together. In his arms, I found solace, comfort, and a sense of completeness that I had searched for in vain elsewhere. And as our lips met in a dance of longing and love, I knew with unwavering certainty that the tender touch of him was all I ever truly desired. With each passing day, our bond deepened, blossoming like a delicate flower in the light of newfound love. We embarked on the journey of rediscovery, peeling back the layers of time to reveal the tender shoots of affection that had taken root in our hearts. Every shared laugh, every stolen glance, became a testament to the enduring strength of our love, a love that had withstood the test of time and emerged even stronger on the other side. As we navigated the complexities of rekindled romance, we found solace in the knowledge that our love was not just a fleeting emotion but a steadfast anchor in the tumultuous sea of life. We leaned on each other for support, drawing strength from the deep well of affection that flowed between us. Together, we faced the challenges of the present and the uncertainties of the future with unwavering courage and boundless optimism. In the quiet moments of togetherness, as we held hands and watched the world go by, we marveled at the beauty of our shared journey. Every twist and turn, every obstacle overcome, had led us to this place of profound contentment and unbridled joy. And as we gazed into each other's eyes, we knew with certainty that our love was not just a chance encounter but a divine gift, bestowed upon us by a benevolent Creator who had woven our paths together with threads of destiny and purpose. As I reflect on our journey, I'm overwhelmed with gratitude for the unexpected twist fate has brought. Our love story, once interrupted, has found its way back into the light. It's a testament to the resilience of love, the power of divine intervention, the beauty of second chances, and a demonstration of God's perfect timing. Our reunion isn't just a chance encounter, it's a reaffirmation of the bond we share, a bond that time and distance could never sever. It's a reminder that love, when nurtured, cherished, and rooted in Christ, has the capacity to transcend all obstacles and reunite kindred souls. As I look to the future with him by my side, I'm filled with hope and anticipation for the chapters yet to unfold. Together, we'll continue to write our love story, embracing each moment with gratitude and joy. And though our journey may have had its interruptions, I'm certain that the best is yet to come. Our forever seemingly interrupted, but never forgotten. Our love story continues, stronger and more vibrant than ever before. And as we embark on this next chapter together, I'm grateful for the twists and turns that have led us back into each other's arms. In the end, our love may have been interrupted, but it will never truly be lost. For true love, agape love, like faith, is eternal, transcending time and space to unite us in the bonds of everlasting love. And so, I will hold on to the memories of our time apart, cherishing each moment as a reminder of the strength of our connection. Together, we'll write the next chapter of our love story, embracing the future with open hearts and unwavering faith in Jesus. And as we journey forward hand in hand, I know that our love will endure, forever and always. Bye and see you again in the next videos and stories.